Should you buy a V60? Maybe. Hey there, this is Tom. It's Tom's Tech Show, and I like doing videos about technology, about pop culture, movies and TV shows that I like, and anything that comes my way. And of course, recently, what has come my way is this LG V60 Think with a Q. And the first thing, when I first got it and took it out and held it up against my other phone, my G7 that I've sent back was it seems to be about the same weight. But now that I've been holding this thing for a couple of days, this thing is a brick. This thing feels like super heavy. I actually went in, jumped onto GSM Arena, and here my G7 was 162 grams, and the V60 is 213 grams. So it's 51 grams heavier. And for some reason, I just really feel it. Partially probably because this is a 6.8-inch screen as opposed to the 6.1-inch screen. So it's definitely adds. When it's in my pocket, it's not too bad. It doesn't really seem that bad. But man, after holding it in your hand for a while, I was looking at, okay, what's my iPad weigh? My iPad's 469 grams. Like, okay, so that's really some heavy. That's like twice as much. So I feel like, okay, it's not too bad as like a full, 10.5-inch iPad. So I'm not going crazy, but there are some reasons for it. It doesn't have the 5,000 milliamp hour battery. It's got 8 gig of RAM. It's not slow by any means. Navigating and using the phone. We'll get into that. One thing that I did note. So this is my G7 out here, and I did some speed tests. So on my Wi-Fi, I'm definitely getting what my internet speed is, which is 200 down, 10 up here. And on LTE, it's getting 5 to 6 down, maybe 1 up. And then I went and I said, well, let's check what I'm getting on here. And I look at the history here, and on Wi-Fi I'm doing okay, my 200 down, 10 up, but I'm not getting much. I'm getting barely any much. I'm doing this from the same place in the house, and all of that. So I'm barely getting any better speed. I need to go find where there's a really good 5G speed around here. We're near the coast, so they don't put a lot of good antennas out here. Because we're like TV antennas, they don't reach out here. Cell services like, oh, they're way out there near the ocean. We don't want to put anything right next to the ocean because then we're just sending signal out to the ocean. They want it inland so that it kind of covers the ocean area, is what I've tend to found over the years. It does do wireless charging, so that's one thing. If I pick it up and let it go here and I drop it back down and the charging comes on, it has the little animation in the middle that says, okay, it's charging. This is not a speed charger by any means that I'm using. This is I think this is a Target $10 charger. So it charges the phone. I really don't have any problem with battery power because of, one, this has got a 5,000 milliamp battery, and two, I'm really never anywhere that I'm not going to have power. In the car, I've always got power because I got it plugged in for Android Auto. At home, in the home/office, right? It's here on my desk, and I've got the wireless charger here, so I can just drop it on there. When I go to bed at night, there's a wireless charger in there. I can just set it on the desk, set it on the table there. So it always has place to be charged. So I'm not really worried too much about the speed of the charge. Just that it's charging and can maintain power and all that, and doesn't drain out during the day, which it doesn't seem to. It seems to handle a whole day being off the charger. A few other interesting things here. You can go into settings if you wanted to adjust. So go to the 5G speed. You can turn it off if you wish. Go to mobile networks. Go to let's see, network mode, and that'll pull up a little screen. You can select 2G, 3G, and 2G and LTE, or the full 5G setting. Interestingly enough, they ship it with data roaming on. I don't know. I've never gotten a charge for any data roaming because T-Mobile covers everywhere, even when we're in Mexico, which was kind of one reason that we use them, is that we get pretty good service. Actually, sometimes a lot better service down there than we do here at our house. But yeah, there are some settings you can do to take the 5G off or not. I'm leaving it on for now because I'm going to be doing some more testing with it. The settings, I mean, there's the one thing that's interesting on the display settings, because this screen is not super high resolution like my G7 was. There's no way to turn down. My G7 had a menu item to turn down the resolution. Since this is already like a lower standard kind of resolution, there's no way to reduce that or increase that. It's just you get the resolution that you get. So, but on my G7, I would always turn it all the way down. So that's why I don't really notice anything different in this phone at all. You can see, even though the screen mirroring lag is a little bit there, but all the menus and everything are pretty quick. This does have the, swipe up, or you can hit the little icon for, the app drawer, which I select. You can select that, what kind of menus and what kind of home screen you want. In these, I usually pick the app drawer. So under display, home screen, select home screen, you can have it be just the home screen, and all the apps are on the front, just like an iPhone if you prefer that. I usually use this setting, which is the home screen and app drawer. Or you can do an easy home, probably for seniors and people who want something that's fairly big buttoned and simple to be able to use, which is nice. I have older father-in-law who, he has a phone, and let's switch that thing on, make everything big and bold, and then he doesn't have to grab his glasses every time. This does have this LG Pay. So, and if you're familiar with Samsung, how Samsung Pay works, payment terminals that don't have NFC, and you will still want to pay with your phone, you can use the LG Pay. You take the phone and hold it up next to where the MagStripe reader is, and it will transmit that over the MagStripe reader. I used to do this all the time when I had a Galaxy Note. I had a Note 5, I think, which was one of the first ones that had it, and I would use it all the time. But NFC readers are pretty prolific now, so I don't know how often you would have to use that. I know like Walmarts don't have NFC readers because they went in all on Walmart Pay in order to do Walmart Pay. So you could do that in some place like that, like a Walmart or something. You could just hold your phone up to the next to the terminal on the swiping side, and then boom, it would transmit it and be able to pay for stuff there. Also, as a side note here, I have this in the middle here. I have this ExxonMobil app, and I highly recommend, wherever you get your fuel, you find out if they have an app and you use the app on the phone. Because a few times I've gone to some pumps, we've been traveling, going different places, and first thing I do when I get out of the car, this is kind of a safety, everyday life tip, is first time when I get out of a car, go to a gas station that I'm not familiar with, I grab the terminal where you stick your card in, and I pull on it and shake it around to make sure that it doesn't move, and look inside of it and make sure there's nothing in there, because that's like a place for scammers to get your card. They'll add a terminal on the end of it that's going to read your card as it goes in and out. Then they come back later and pull your card numbers off and use them. So if I'm using an app on my phone that's transmitting to the pump to turn it on and activate it, my card is never in the machine. No one can ever get my card by doing that. So just as a little side note, safety thing, when you're using cards, and now that we all have smartphones, use that feature. Just go in and use that feature. I do have my my TicWatch Pro connected to it, and I get all my heart rate fit things when I go on walks and things like that. That's already all set up and working. It does come with some apps. It came with a lot of dual screen games, and since I didn't get the dual screen, I mean those are plentiful because I just think people don't want them. I mean, this phone is 6.8 inches. I mean, if I hold this up, if I take this phone and I hold it up with my iPad, right? If I hold it up, this is a 10-inch iPad. So if I hold it up to my iPad and then I go, okay, if there were two of these phones next to each other, that's almost my iPad. And this is a 10-inch iPad. So if you had a 7-inch iPad, a 7.9-inch iPad, that would be the same thing. So why do I need to carry around that bulk and that weight when I could just have my iPad to do things? And it wouldn't have, you know, a space in the middle between the two, you know, the space in the middle between the two screens and stuff. I mean, I get the game playing. I guess if you're a heavy gamer and you want to go out and you want to play some like driving games and different things like that, you know, that might be okay, but you know, I just didn't see a need for it. I mean, I have set it up to do remote support and remote desktop into, you know, systems that I need to manage. So I've got, you know, like my OpenVPN client and my Cisco AnyConnect client on here, and they work perfectly fine. I have loaded a ton of apps on this thing, and we still got a lot of memory. I think it was, let's go down here, look at storage. And I got some video artifacts on there for creating videos. I mean, I've used 42 gig. I've got 86 gig free. The SD card or the SIM card has a spot for a micro SD card, so I could get, you know, like 128 or 256 gig SD card and put that on there and even double the space, and it maintains its, you know, waterproofness through all of that. So let's go and look at the camera here. So a few things about the camera. It's really good. I really do like it. So here in the bottom of the screen, you can just touch to change the zoom, which I thought was pretty good. I liked that because you're always trying to pinch and zoom to get things right. Well, sometimes you just want a quick, which you can do, pinch and zoom, but sometimes you just want a quick, you know, I just need to go in or I just need to move out kind of thing. And that little button really helps. So you can't come in here to the settings and change the photo size to these 9248 by 6936 images, which are 64 megapixels, which is crazy. You can also save things as the new high efficiency format, which I turned on. And there, so you can take these pictures, but if I go here, and what I'm doing a lot of the time is switching to manual camera because I want to adjust my exposure value. I mean, I'm sometimes you know, underexposing or overexposing just a little bit just to see, you know, make it easier. Maybe what I'm taking a picture of is in shadow. I don't want to brighten it, or it's in the sun and I want to kill it a little bit, the lighting. Well, as soon as I do that and go back to settings, I can see that only the 16 megapixel format is allowed. I can't do 64 megapixel in the manual setting. So it's doing some magic in there, I think, to get the 64 megapixels. So be aware of that. The other issue I have is if I go back to photo now, it doesn't switch back to 64. It stays at 16. So every single time I switch off, I'm going to have to go and change that back if I want to stay in 64 mode. So I have to be aware if I even move it to video or even move it to manual camera, whatever, boom, my setting is back to 16 megapixel. And if I want to take 64s, then I got to go into settings and flip it back to 64 megapixel. So that's a little bit irritating, but we'll see how well, you know, I'll show you some pictures here in a minute and you can see how well they turn out. All right. So one thing this phone does not have is a fingerprint reader on the back. Yes, it's what Apple has been trying to do and hinting at doing, is getting the fingerprint reader right here under the glass. So it works for you. You got to get kind of used to it being there. Whenever anything like LastPass or anything, or your bank, whatever jumps up and needs authentication, then you just have to, little window comes up and you just put your finger over it and it will actuate. So once I started using it, I would hit and miss, and then you just have to kind of get it right in the middle, right where it's supposed to be, where their little they have a little spinny thing that's here. See if I can get it to come up. Yeah, see there's a little spinning thing down there, the little globe down there. You got to kind of make sure and hit your finger with that. It takes a little bit of getting used to, but now that it's there, I'm using it fine now. But it is interesting that LG's got it underneath the screen, before some of the major other brands have it underneath the screen. So there you go. Okay, so let's talk about some of the pictures that I've taken. This is actually a photo taken with my G7. And if I kind of zoom in on it, from here, it looks pretty good. But if I kind of zoom in a little bit here, start getting a little closer and a little closer, it starts to really break down. There really starts to be, you can't see any real detail in the flower. Some of the leaves are getting a little blotchy on the edges, different things like that. This is another picture taken with it. Just looking at some of the leaves here, see what detail there is in the leaves. There's, it's okay. Just don't, it's okay for web use. I would think if you want to post on, Instagram or, whatever, kind of thing. So I went out and I took some pictures. And here is this. Let's see, here's this one. This one is a 64 megabit file. So I have put a little bit of I did put a little bit of this one, yeah. I did put a little bit of changes, in it. I increased some of the different settings here, the highlights, and I'm just seeing if I can manipulate the image a little bit. As I zoom in on it, you can really see down in here just the super detail inside this image down here. I'm way zoomed in. I zoomed in much further than the other image, size compared wise. This, just how much detail is in that. It hit focus pretty good on there. You can touch the screen and have it set focus on things. So this is a 64 megabit image. This one is similar, but this is a raw image that's just 16 megapixel. But with some of the light adjustments that I did here in Lightroom, the veins and everything and the flower petals and all of that, just make it kind of, you can just tell even the 16 megapixel photos are just look so much better. I can bring back some of the color. That's one thing. The raw images are a little dull. If I look back at one of the other ones, this is one of the raw images that's taken in the sun, and it just seems a little dull, right? I can open the shadows up a little bit, turn down the highlights. That the exposure needs to be up a little bit, and just some of the color and vibrance needs to come back. And then there it is, but it's raw. So you can definitely dig into it and change it. But just look at the detail on that. This is still a 16 megapixel file, and just some really great detail in some of these images. So yeah. So as a camera, I think it's just competing. It's now competing with my old Canon T4i. I think in just that capability of how good these images are. I can't really put professional big zoom lenses on it or anything like that, but just the detail of the photos I think makes up for some of that. So okay, so despite the large, the gigantic size, this is the largest phone I've ever had, 6.8 inches, and that it's a little heavier. It does feel substantial. I'm enjoying the phone so far, especially the camera, just really doing quite the deal with those photographs. And I can get, any app that I want to load on here. It does work with my car because it has Android Auto. It isn't weird that Android Auto doesn't have an icon anymore, that it just is built into the operating system. I've seen that complaint. There is a download that you can get it so it comes back on your screen, but you just plug it into the car and boom, it's there. I do use these couple of apps here on the front, Wise and Casa, that I use to control the outlets and the front door, to locking and unlocking our front door and things like that. And I've got security cameras that we use, these Zmodo security cameras all around the house and stuff, and all that stuff works really well. Yeah, so it's been great. I mean, it's the same, basically the same LG phone that I had before, but with bigger battery, bigger screen, what else? Bigger memory, bigger RAM, all that stuff. So I would imagine that it would stay, although this has LG Pay, which is one new thing. But I do like that it has a Google button. I mean, there's no, denying. I do not want a button that is for any Samsung product or anything else. So that's why I buy these LG phones, because they've kept, I guess, as much of LG out of it as they can. I mean, I can show you there's a couple of LG apps. It actually has an FM radio built into it. And it also has, amazingly enough, right there, it shows it has a headphone jack. So, yeah. Oh, that's the other thing. One other thing that we can look at here is one thing that LG kind of really has set themselves apart on, I think, is in the sound area. So they have some great sound. The DAC in here is just amazing. I mean, they've got, you've got an equalizer. You can set up an equalizer for what you're listening to. They have a 3D sound engine. They've got a hi-fi quad DAC for when you're on your headphones. So if you're really into listening to music, I've turned this thing on, and even some cheaper headphones sound amazing with the DAC that they put into these phones. So if you're an audiophile, I would definitely look at an LG phone. You're going to get a fairly clean Google existence on the phone. The last updates for my G7 came about 6 or 7 months after Android 10 came out. It took about 6 months or so to get it on the phone. It was actually quicker than I had thought it was going to be. But yeah, just I really like the LG phone. I don't know why they don't get better, have more people buy them, or get better out in the world, notoriety. But they're clean, they're simple. Like I said, this one, of course, is listed at $700, but I got it at a deal, the $300 off if you trade in your old phone. So I'll be getting that deal once they get my phone. Then they credit you back, $12, $13 every month on your bill over the lifetime of the 2 years that you have the phone and stuff. So that's why I buy these once they get about 6 months out. Then I know they're going to have a deal. It's going to be cheaper, and I'm going to get a great phone at a good price. All right. Okay, there you go. Those are kind of my first impressions, the first kind of thoughts of this new phone. I'm going to definitely try and find some places that I can get some good 5G connectivity and see. I mean, I'm near Los Angeles, so next time we go down towards downtown Disney or something like that, I'm sure there's going to be some 5G down there that I can run some more speed tests. But right now, it's just only a little faster, not a lot faster. All right. Well, the camera is pretty amazing. All right. Well, like, share, and subscribe all these videos. If you've made it to the end, I thank you so much. And please comment if you want to know anything else about the phone and want me to demo anything else that might be on it or whatever. Be happy to do that and make another video about it for you. And thanks for watching. Take care.